I have been playing support since 2020. Back in Overwatch 1, I climbed to Diamond on support and tank, and like a lot of players at that level, I thought that I understood the game pretty well. But part of climbing was realizing that my ego grew too. As somebody who mostly played support, the one role I would always flame was DPS. If my DPS weren't getting kills, I noticed, and if we lost a fight, I usually had a pretty good idea whose fault it was. Or at least, I thought I did. When I started this channel, I decided to challenge myself and play more DPS. But what I didn't expect was that playing DPS would completely change how I look at Overwatch, and even to an extent, real life. Not only did it make me understand my teammates better, but it improved my game sense as a support player more than anything else I've done. So in this video, I want to share my experience on how playing DPS changed how I played Overwatch. When you spend most of your time on one role, it's easy to think you understand the other roles. You see everything from your perspective. And as a support player, I would watch my DPS peek a corner and get deleted instantly, and I would think to myself, what are you doing? Or I'd watch them struggle to secure kills and think, just hit your shots. But when I started playing DPS myself, I realized how little information that I actually had. Because from the support perspective, you're often looking at the fight as a whole. I always would position myself in the back line where the team fight would unfold in front of me. And even if someone flanks around, I would see them easily, since it is my job to know what's going on, so I can choose how to best invest my resources to help the team. But on DPS, it was nothing like support. Suddenly, I was in the thick of the fights and focusing on my aim and sweating to try to get kills. To the point, information that I would have easily noticed on support started to fly right past me, since I found it difficult to focus on everything happening all at once. The most important difference that I found while playing DPS compared to support was the pressure to perform. On support, if I'm having an off day, I can go Moira and I can just heal bot to get my healing stat up, to where my teammates hopefully won't flame me. Usually if someone complains about a support, it's because they think they aren't healing enough. Which healing isn't everything, and support shouldn't be heal botting, but that's a topic for a different video. My point is that it's pretty easy to blend in if you aren't doing your best on support. Contrast this to DPS on the other hand, and it's painfully obvious when you aren't performing on DPS. Not only does it show you suck on the leaderboard, if the enemy has a really good player on someone like Widow, your team expects you to deal with them, even if you aren't getting outclassed yourself. This means the whole entire team is expecting you to get kills, which puts more pressure on you, and if you fail to deliver or you're getting diffed by the enemy DPS, you will hear about it from your teammates. I often played Torb on DPS because I loved his kit, and I found that I would get flamed sometimes before a match begins just because of the character I picked. Did I deserve it? I mean, I kinda did. I played Torb, so I get why people got scared. But on the other hand, I also felt like I had to play Torb because the turret gave lots of additional value, to where even if my aim was having an off day, I could still contribute and apply pressure and get kills. There was one time where I was playing Torb versus a very good Sombra, and she kept killing my supports, and I couldn't do anything about it. I tried to put my turret in the back line and peel for my supports, because I know how much I want a DPS to help keep me safe when I play support, but it didn't matter. The Sombra was simply a better player than me and then killed my Ana. Ana then proceeded to message my team in team chat saying, Torb, kill the Sombra. This moment really stood out to me because I realized this is what I would think to myself too if I were in Ana's position. I see a Torb who's an anti-dive character failing to do his job versus the enemy DPS and instantly get mad. But this experience taught me that DPS players still have off days and it isn't always easy to just get kills. I also learned while playing DPS just how much goes into the role and stuff that doesn't get noticed. For example, when I play tank, I'm focused on taking space. This is the job of a tank and doesn't show up in the leaderboard, but the team can just feel if the tank isn't properly taking space or not. On DPS, there was many times where I couldn't get into position I wanted because a tank was standing in a choke and not moving forward. This then put me in a position to where I felt like I had to overextend to try to force a kill, just to get our Rhine to push up. But instead, I just ended up dying. And this is another moment where I realized that DPS isn't simply just getting kills. They need resources to do their job effectively. And I know that sounds like common sense, but if you really think about it, how often do you want to blame someone on your team for not doing their job? And then how often do you think about how you can be better and help your bad teammate to make doing their job easier? This reflects my shift in mindset after playing on DPS. I began to see that DPS can force kills, but most importantly, they also need resources to allow them to do their job. Previously, when I played support, I would invest resources to make our DPS lives easier, but I didn't truly understand what kind of impact it made on them. since again, I only saw from the perspective of the support player. But being on the other side of the fence showed me just how valuable those extra resources I can invest into a DPS player really are. And my final lesson from playing DPS that I learned was not just an Overwatch lesson, but a lesson that can be applied in real life too. That is, you never know what someone else is going through. We're always taught to be empathetic, and we all know that empathy is about putting yourself in the shoes of someone else. And although this is mostly applied in real life situations, it can also be applied in a video game like Overwatch. Before this DPS experiment, I saw the DPS role and even the game of Overwatch as a whole through the lens of a support player. And if someone made a mistake, I would find myself getting upset. Because from my angle and my perspective as a support, it seemed like such an obvious thing to do. For example, why didn't the Ashe target the Pharah? But after playing DPS and seeing the role and how the game of Overwatch is played through their lens, I now feel like I learned to be more patient and trust that there must be a reason why the players act in the way they are, or failing to do something. Back to the Pharah example. Maybe the Ashe isn't dealing with the Pharah because she's constantly getting dove by a Tracer. Or maybe she's positioned too close to the front line and now she has to worry about dodge and spam from the team fight while simultaneously trying to deal with the Pharah. So while yes, random teammates will do weird things and sometimes it feels like they just don't know how to use their brains, if this little DPS experiment taught me one thing, it was to remember that everyone's dealing with their own unique perspective and circumstances within the situations we find ourselves in. So next time you want to flame your random teammate, maybe take a second to think about how you can help them accomplish their job, to where you both can succeed instead of just complaining about them, which only makes matters worse for your team. Playing DPS didn't make me a better DPS player, it made me a better support player, because for the first time, I understood what the people I was supporting actually needed. Thanks for watching this video, and if you enjoyed it and made it this far, please leave a like and a comment since it really helps the channel, and I really do appreciate and I love reading the comments. Thanks for watching, and if you wanted more Overwatch content from me, click the link on the screen.